It's now time for the best of Beaver County. For the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn about unique and interesting people in Beaver County. You can also watch live on Facebook at WBVP-WMVA. The Best of Beaver County is brought to you by St. Barnabas. Here is your host, Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County. Today we're going to learn about a group of people in a facility that is out there to help people who are in need. So joining us this morning in studio for the Best of Beaver County is none other than Jack Lynn. He is from the City Rescue Mission, and they are in Newcastle. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in this morning. We really appreciate that. So, Jack, tell us a little bit about what is City Rescue.
St. Barnabas.
So City Rescue Mission is a gospel rescue mission.
Okay.
We've been around a long time. We actually turn 115 years old this year. So we've been doing this a very long time, but we are primarily known as a homeless shelter.
Okay.
We can shelter roughly 60 men and 12 women a night. We also offer basically other programs that deal with recovery, job readiness, life transformation is our goal. We don't want to see individuals stay in a state of need. We want to give them the tools and the surviving wraparound services that they need to get out of this state of homelessness and poverty.
So how did City Rescue start?
So City Rescue Mission started back in 1910. A preacher by the name of Billy Sunday was going around the country and preaching on helping those in need.
Okay.
So he came to Newcastle and over roughly a 2-month time period in 1910 had a sermon on it and preached multiple Sundays, and it just took root. And he did this across the East Coast. So at that time, a group of people decided they wanted to do something and keep the movement going, so they started looking into forming the City Rescue Mission. And they brought an individual by the name of Mel Trotter, who started the Mel Trotter Rescue Mission up in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
He came down, helped them organize it, and in 1911 we opened our doors in a small hotel down in Newcastle, and we were there to almost the 1960s until we moved into our current building on Croton Avenue.
You haven't been there the whole time, have you?
No, I haven't.
So when did you come to City Rescue Mission?
So I came to City Rescue Mission in January of 2020, right before COVID. Great time to decide to go into ministry full force out of the accounting world.
Okay.
So switched careers there, entered the ministry in 2020, worked alongside of the CEO at that time, kind of 2.5 years doing succession planning and him just mentoring me.
Was that Kevin?
That was Kevin Green.
Okay,
yes, it
yeah.
was.
Yeah, I know Kevin rather well from. He's a racer too, so that's
Yes,
how
he
I know
is.
him. Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice guy.
A great guy. He helped mentor me over that time period. And then in 2022, I stepped in and took over as CEO.
So if Jack's voice sounds familiar to you, he voices all the commercials that run on Sunday mornings on our Sounds of Faith program. We appreciate you guys being a sponsor of that as well. So we're kind of explain a little bit where your current location is and how big is the building.
So right now we have 2 locations at shelter.
All right.
We have our men's shelter on Croton Avenue, which is just along the Neshannock Creek in Newcastle. That facility, like I said, it can shelter 60 men a night. 11 beds we have for recovery. And we also have out of that is what we call our family care ministry, which is our food pantry. So we get roughly 325 different individuals there during a year.
Oh, wow.
Our food ministry serves 3 meals a day to everybody in that facility, but they also serve 1 meal a day to anybody in the community that needs a meal. And that has been one of the biggest areas that we have seen an increase of need in our community. When I got to the mission in 2020, we were serving 18 to 20,000 meals. Last year, we served just over 32,000 meals. So we've seen a huge increase of food insecurity in our area. So that's our biggest facility. Over on the other side of town, we have our women's facility, and it has 12 beds. And those 12 beds are shared between women that are coming in off the street and working towards getting housing, or women that are seeking recovery. So this is one of the biggest needs that I'm asking our supporters for, because we recognize that 12 beds isn't enough. So I'm working with my board and my team, and we're trying to come up with a plan on how, we can increase the amount of beds for our women, because in the winter it's really tough with that limited number of beds.
Is homelessness that big of a problem in the area?
It's that big of a problem in the country. In 2024 to 2025, HUD announced an 18% increase in homelessness. This was the largest increase that they announced since they started tracking it. And we saw a similar increase in Lawrence County, just like Light of Life is seeing down in Pittsburgh. And we're seeing across the country. We are seeing a rise in homelessness. We're seeing a rise in food insecurity, and definitely a rise in mental health and addiction support.
Right. What do they attribute that to?
So they attribute it to a couple things. One of the biggest reasons for homelessness they feel too is back in the 80s, they started shutting down the mental health hospitals. So there's not a lot of places that you can go to get mental health treatment. And that population is now out on the streets, and the services are there. There's just barriers to get them in. And we try to work through those barriers with other communities. The other thing is, not all of the people that come in to shelter have a mental health or an addiction issue. The cost of inflation. I mean, anybody that has kids, I have 3 kids at home. Soon it'll just be 1 because 2's going to college here in a couple months. But our food bill is just growing. And when you have somebody on a limited income or low income and the price of food is going through the roof, and their income's not going up, I mean, people are making the decision. Do I pay for food? Do I pay to keep the utilities on? Do I pay the rent to stay in the house? That's where services like ours are essential, because through our food pantry, we try to offset that cost. So inflation and, the decision that was made back in the 80s to shut down the mental health hospitals have directly impacted it.
Is there a specific age range that this affects?
It affects all populations. We are seeing a trend right now. We are seeing more 30 to 40-year-olds in homelessness, and we are starting to see more individuals that are 60 and over. There's becoming a retirement age that doesn't have the savings, and they don't have the means. And a lot of individuals are finding themselves in this state of homelessness that they didn't have this issue when they were 50, 60 years old working.
Right.
But now that they're getting to retirement age, it's becoming a real struggle. So those are the 2 biggest increases we're seeing.
Okay. Now, is City Rescue Mission, is it a 24-hour shelter or just an overnight shelter?
So we are a 24-hour shelter.
Okay.
We offer different services during the day. Most of our staff is there 8 to 4. That's when a lot of the programs run, and into the evening. But we are staffed and available for shelter 24 hours a day.
Take me through the process. If somebody comes to you and is in need of some assistance, what's the process that you put them through?
So the process, how it works at the City Rescue Mission, for our men, it's a walk-in. So they come right down to the shelter. We do not hold beds. It's a first come, first serve. They walk through the door, and the first thing they meet is with our one intake person. Sitting at the front desk, we get some basic information, name, how long they've been homeless, what all they're currently dealing with, and then we give them a bed, and we make sure they have food. And then we give them a couple days just to kind of adjust and breathe, because they're coming in with a lot of trauma and a state of crisis. Mm-hmm. We need to just let them breathe a little bit, relax, and start to open up to us. Because our job, we rely on our faith when we serve people. So our job is to come alongside these individuals as they come in, listen to what they need. And then after a couple days, they meet with one of our caseworkers who are also pastors, and they work with them. Okay, do we need to get housing first? Do you need to get ID cards? Do you need to get some type of medical treatment? We have Primary Health Network come down with their mobile unit every other week, plus they're in our building helping, making sure they get health needs. So we have all these programs and all these different agencies that we work with to see what that need is. And then they have 30 days to work through that. And if they're working towards housing, they got to go through those appointments. When 30 days are up, because right now affordable housing is in low demand,
Right.
it takes longer than 30 days to get housing. So if they're moving towards that plan, working on it, and they're just waiting for the process, they can stay day by day. And right now our average length of stay is between 55 and 60 days. If they're not moving forward and not meeting any of the roadmap that we have out in front of them, then we have to make the bed available to somebody else that is waiting to get in. Because right now we have 2-3 beds open a night, and we're in the summer months.
Right.
So we're still seeing a high demand coming in. If they decide they need recovery, they can go into our recovery program. It's basically a 12-month program. There's no time restriction, but that's the average length, and it's a 5-phase program where we look at character traits, and we work with individuals. And to us, everything that they're struggling, every chain holding them down, we view as sin. So it doesn't matter if it's a gambling addiction, drug addiction, anger management addiction, or pornography, whatever it is, we're going to work with it and address it. And then we also work with life skills training with them. A lot of the individuals, we have to go through and say, okay, here's how you do a job interview. Here's how to work a microwave, basic stuff that some of us take for granted, and we work on those soft life skills. And then once they make it through that program, and our women's recovery is set up the same way, once they make it through the program, we have a graduation for them. It's such a special moment to celebrate with them what they have accomplished. But then we just don't let them go. We have what we call aftercare, and they can be in that program the rest of their lives. And anytime they start to struggle with something, or something starts to pop back up, they now have an accountability network that they can reach out to, talk to, before it takes them down that path again.
So how do you handle somebody that maybe has an addiction problem, but obviously they've gotten in some trouble and they don't have any other choice but to come to you? And to start off with, maybe necessarily they're not after that, but they don't have a choice.
So when they come in and, they have that type of background where they're not looking for active recovery, and maybe they don't know what they're looking for. How we deal with it is we take it in. I mean, we have the same basic rules that you have in any company, any school. Hey, you can come in. You can't actively use drugs in our facility. It's a drug-free facility. You cannot drink in the facility. So as you're staying with us, you got to be clean. And we work with them on that, and then we try to guide them and just be that voice of support. So it's not about telling individuals what to do. It's about coming alongside them and trying to guide them. And then, sometimes, yes, it works, and it opens up those doors where they start talking to other agencies and we're that good fit. Sometimes, it closes those doors and they decide, hey, we really don't want this. And then, they're welcome to leave if they don't want to use any of the programs.
How much does the homelessness of some people actually create the addiction?
It does on some. Those in homelessness have a much higher percentage of potential drug and alcohol use because of how they're living,
Right.
especially the unsheltered. When you are unsheltered, that's very dangerous. Number one, you're living in the environments, so you start to see that coping mechanism. But roughly, 1 out of 4 that come in have some type of mental health or addiction. It's not everybody coming in, but it is, compared to the general population, a lot higher of a percent just because of the nature of how they're living.
Now, somebody that needs assistance that comes to City Rescue Mission, do they need to be from that area, or do they come from other areas as well?
They can be from any area. We don't restrict. Right now, we serve mainly Lawrence County in the Tri-County area. So roughly about 55 to 60% of the people that come into the mission are from Lawrence County. The next 30 to 35% are from those surrounding counties, Beaver, Mercer, Butler, a little bit Allegheny, but they will use the services in Pittsburgh with Light of Life. And then we do get some from Mahoning County over in Ohio, but there's also the Mahoning Valley Rescue Mission over there that helps serve that community. So roughly about 90 to 95% come from the Tri-County area. And then we do get a couple, just because of the nature of homelessness, 5, no more than 10% probably, that come from outside of that area.
We're visiting this morning with Jack Lynn. He is from the City Rescue Mission that is in Newcastle. And we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back with more right after this here on Beaver County Radio.
Place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
We're back here on the Best of Beaver County. Frank Sparks, along with Jack Lynn. He is from City Rescue Mission. And Jack, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, too, is, you guys have been here for a long time.
Yes.
How has you survived? How has City Rescue Mission survived this long?
So, one, we live in our faith. So we trust in God. So it's by the grace of God that we've been here and doing it this long. But he uses multiple donors and people that help us. The City Rescue Mission, we're a straight nonprofit. Roughly about $2.5 million a year is our operating budget. And we raise that money every year. We have some of our own endowments, but primarily it comes from individual donors.
Okay.
And it comes from the churches and businesses in our community, because we don't accept any federal or state money. Another way that we've been able to do this so long is we have such a great group of volunteers. There's many ways people think, the only way I can volunteer at the mission is to come down and serve a meal. And while that's one way, and a lot of people do that, we need help in administration, just going through the mail and sorting stuff and sending out receipts. We need help in our pantry, stocking shelves. We have individuals that come down and help with maintenance projects, painting and that. So there's so many ways to get involved, and it's just not a certain age group. We have elementary kids and high school kids that come down and help, especially around the holiday. We have 2 ladies that help with our street outreach where we go out. They are retired, and they're going out and helping deliver breakfast sandwiches 2-3 days a week. So there's so many ways to get involved, and all you got to really do is go out to our website, hit get involved, and there's a volunteer now form. You fill it out, and it gives you options. This is what I would like to look into doing, and we'll give you a call and try to get you in there.
Now, do you, obviously, with dealing with what you deal with, you know where a lot of the homeless people live within
Correct.
the community. So do you guys go conduct an outreach with them at times, or
Yes.
do you wait for them to come to you?
No, we try to go out and through our outreach, and we have a great relationship with our local police department. They will give us a heads up if they're seeing individuals in a certain area. But whenever we get reports of somebody living in the woods in a tent, we will go out. And we'll send our team, and we try to encourage people to come into the shelter. Because that's the key. You got to be compassionate. If you just go out and drag people into the shelter, it's really hard to help somebody that was forced to come in. But if you can encourage them and multiple people are speaking into them, then you have a real chance to really get involved with that individual and see change. So street outreach is an extremely important event.
I would assume that if they don't want the help, they're not going to, it's going to be harder to help them.
Correct.
Than if,
One of my guests said it the best. The hardest step is the first step into the building, because that's admitting, hey, I need some help. But it's just like every one of us. You got to make that first step. So once you make that first step and you want that help, we can help you. Sometimes we just need to encourage you and show you what's there.
how much does people's pride sometimes play into this?
Pride's always a big problem. We're all prideful.
Right.
It is one of the biggest sins. And, pride kicks in, especially for the men that we serve, because, they don't want to be seen as weak. And they're not. I mean, they're surviving a very hard life trying to live out on the streets.
Right.
So pride does have a huge impact.
What time of year is homelessness the most? I mean, is it more prevalent in the summer since it's warmer and people are outdoors? In the cold, you would think people would come looking for shelter because of the coldness.
Definitely in the cold, we have to go into what we call overflow. So we have 10 additional beds that we can have for our men that they can come in during the day or during the night. But homelessness is year round. Like I said before, we're full. And, people think sometimes, homelessness isn't as a big of a deal in the summer months, but you have to deal with heat and dehydration. And those can be very dangerous out in the sun if you can't get in. So we see it throughout the year. We need help throughout the year with donations. We typically bring in most of the funds through those winter months because that's when people are thinking about homelessness. But we're talking to people this time of the year that we still need the help.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your food pantry.
Yeah.
So the food pantry, who was eligible for that?
We follow SNAP benefits. So as long as you hit those income limits, you can come in and use the food pantry. And you basically come in once a month. You make an appointment, and our goal is to give you enough food to get you through the month. And, we do everything from vegetables to breads to meat to dairy products. We try to give you that wider range, and you get so much depending on your family size. And we help about 1,100 families a year.
That's a lot.
It is. And, there's other food pantries in our town doing it too. So that helps offset it. But, we were just talking about the summer months. Right now, a lot of kids are home from school.
Right.
So they were getting lunches and free meals at school. Now it's up to
mom or dad to provide it. Yeah.
So, they have that cost. So now we see people using the food pantry for that.
That's a great thing. Now, when it comes to like the food pantry and things like that, how often? You said once a month they can come in. Do people like long-standing come in month after month after month, or is there a limitation?
No, they can come in month after month, because we're to offset. They have to keep showing us proof of income that they're in those SNAP benefits. But they can utilize our food pantry as long as their income stays under the SNAP benefits.
I'm sure with inflation, you guys have seen a rise in the food pantry as well.
Yes. And again, one of the most amazing things to me is donations that come in that are food. We have a lot of catering companies that help and bring in different food. One of my favorite stories is we had a farmer that was cutting his cornfields, and he brought in, pickup trucks of corn fresh off the field.
Right.
And we husked it right there in the mission, and we had enough corn for months.
Do you get like restaurants and things like that make donations?
Yes. We have a lot of catering companies, a lot of restaurants. Our catering companies are always very generous. If they have events and food left over, we have churches. One of the nicest events we do is called a BAM, which stands for Bring a Meal.
Okay.
So churches on Sunday, they can do it any day. We see a lot of it on Sunday evenings. They bring a meal in, they serve it in our kitchen with our staff, and it gives them a chance to sit and talk to the individuals they're serving. Because a lot of people find themselves in poverty because they run out of having a network or having connections. They have nobody to turn to. So when they can get introduced to individuals and have somebody to talk to, it has tremendous benefits on helping them.
I know when we had a homeless shelter here in Beaver County, a lot of the restaurants would do that. They would go to the shelter. Maybe they had leftovers from the day, and they would donate that for dinner each and every day. Particular days they donated each week.
Yeah, and we see the same thing. One of the ones that I'll give credit to right now is Medore's Catering up in Newcastle. Mm-hmm. They have helped us out tremendously. They're not the only ones, but they helped us. They have a promotion at Thanksgiving time where if you buy a family meal, for the mission, they'll donate a meal, and they help us. They help Arise in Newcastle, and they help Light of Life, and they really offset the Thanksgiving meals by helping us out with these meals that they're able to raise.
So celebrating how many years? 111?
115.
115. Wow. That's awesome. What are you guys going to be? You doing something special for it? Or?
Yeah, we're going to do something special. Every year we have in October, we call it a Sunday brunch.
Okay.
It's kind of like an open house, but what we do is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. after church. Come on down, have brunch with us. It's a great way to see the quality of food that we're serving. It's also a great way to see the different programs and what we do at the mission. Because the number one thing I always hear is when people look and come in for a tour of the mission is they don't realize everything that we do at the City Rescue Mission.
Right.
So it's a great way to come in, have a meal. That will be October 18th this year, so mark your calendars between 10 and 2. Come in, and get a nice tour. And then also in October, on I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's the National Day of Homelessness. We have an event. We're part of a group called Citygate Network, which is a professional association of gospel rescue missions. It's missions across the United States and into Canada and even some overseas. But they have conversations on a bench, which is 24 hours of me sitting outside of the mission. And if anybody has a question, it's live streamed. They can come up, sit on a bench with me, ask me any questions for 24 hours straight. It's a long time.
That's a long time to be sitting there.
I'll admit it. I probably sleep a good 15 hours after the event's over because staying up that long is kind of long. But it's such a great event. Just getting individuals coming up and asking questions and having the discussion. Because that's how we help homelessness. We have to have an open discussion and see what the narrative of homelessness really is.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, Jack, why do you do what you do?
I do what I do. One, I feel it's a calling, and it is a passion. I've been a member of the Newcastle community my whole life, born and raised there. My family's been there. It's a great community, and I have always had a servant's heart. I've been a volunteer fireman for over 20 years out at the Shenango Area Fire District. I'm now retired from there. I volunteer my time coaching youth sports at the junior high level all the way up to travel softball. And I want to help people. And, so having that just passion really makes what I get to do very special.
Well, in the last couple minutes we have, share a couple success stories with us.
So some of our success stories is I look at some of my graduates or some of the graduates of the mission from recovery. And it's really great when you saw an individual come in and then you look at them when they go out a year later. We've had individuals. We have an individual that he's been out of our recovery program. He came in the early 2000s. He's now operating a pizzeria in Canfield.
That's awesome.
He has a family in that. So that's doing great. We had another individual graduated our program roughly 3 years ago. He's doing great. He's married, but he came back and what's that, disc golf?
Oh, yeah.
He did a fundraiser for us and raised money and food as a way of giving back to us.
Oh, wow.
So we see those success stories, and they're special. Because if you could just change one life, that makes it worth it.
How often do you have maybe a business, a construction business or something that comes in and says, hey, we want to help some of these guys out and give them a job?
So through our job readiness program, that's something we're very focused on. We have a lot of construction companies, manufacturing companies that work with us. Right now, there's a huge manufacturing need in our area. So we're working with different agencies, Career Links, Butler Community College, on ways to get people that they're ready for work.
Right.
We don't want to just get somebody a job. We want them to sustain a job. So these companies will come in and give people a chance, and then we're there too to kind of help them through that chance.
Jack, tell everybody how if they'd like to make a donation or if they need services, how they can get a hold of City Rescue Mission.
So easiest way to come down if you want to make a donation, go to our website, cityrescuemission.org. There's a spot on there to give help. And to give help, it takes you right to our donation page. There's also a spot on there for get help. Okay. And when you hit get help, it'll give you all our sheltering options, our feeding options, and different programs. The other way, if you need help, you can see it in all our vans driving around, call us. Our number is 724-652-2341. Give us a call, come on down, see how we can help you, or just walk in the door.
Jack, thanks for coming in today and telling us about City Rescue Mission.
Thank you for having me. It's great as always.
All right, tune in again next week for another edition of the Best of Beaver County here on Beaver County Radio.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to